everyone, and welcome to HMR, the Homeroom Movie Retinue Podcast. On another episode of A Marvelous Retrospective. It's been a week, guys. But today I am joined by Tyler, the artistic anomaly.
What's up, gamer?
Ben, my brother from another mother.
Hello there.
Wow, that took a long... Okay. And no Lewis today.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's been a week. We didn't take I don't remember why we took, I don't remember why it's taken a week for us to talk about this goddamn movie, but it's fine, because it's Captain America, which was released July 19th, 2011, so like 2 months after Thor. And it's a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes, and guys, for a lot of these early MCU movies, I'm saying this, but wow, it feels much longer. Am I alone in that?
You are not alone in that. I didn't like it.
It's okay, so it was directed by Joseph Eggleston Johnson II, who's an American film director, and he's a former visual effects artist, but he's best known for movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jumanji, Jurassic Park 3, The Rocketeer.
Oh, disgusting.
The Wolfman, and October Sky, which is a really good movie. I like October Sky a lot. Okay, guys? Have you guys seen that movie?
October Sky.
Yeah, no, I know Ben's probably seen it, but Tyler, have you ever seen it?
I've seen it.
I have seen it, but I don't remember anything about it.
It's really good. I like it a lot. But the budget, we're not talking about October Sky. We're talking about Captain America: The First Avenger, which has a budget of $140 million and a box office of $370.6 million. And honestly, nothing to really write home about. Like, I couldn't find any. Well, I mean, I didn't really search for box office facts because, Chris Evans declined the role 3 times before accepting the part. Not out of dislike for the role, but because he feared what the effects of the sudden increase of fame would be on his private life. Then, our boy Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, convinced him to take the part, and thus, he gained the freedom to sign on to any other role he'd want afterwards. After that, he had a meeting with the director and the producers who convinced him to take the role. Stanley Tucci took the role, is it Tucci or Tucci? I think it's Tucci.
Tucci.
Yeah, Tucci. He took the role of Dr. Erskine because the role enabled him to use a German accent, which he always wanted to do.
I love Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, I know. It's Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan are about the same height. A camera trick, not CGI, made Captain America look much taller than Bucky Barnes. So the comic book that appears in the movie bears the cover of the first issue of the actual Captain America comics, which is March 1940 or 41, I think. But the cover's modified from the original version to remove the depiction of Bucky due to the movie version. He's different than the way younger comic counterpart. So you know the scene where a submarine fills up with water. That scene was filmed in only 3 takes due to Richard Armitage's aquaphobia, which aquaphobia is no joke, guys. Just saying. So Hydra's futuristic aircraft take the designs from actual World War II German concepts, such as the Horton H-18. Yeah, the H-18. I don't know why that took me so long to register, but the Flying Wing Bomber and I can't pronounce this, the Triffelbujäger fighter plane. Insert German here, guys. In the in the exhibition, there's a mannequin in a red jumpsuit under a glass dome. You guys might not have known this, but this is a reference to the android original Human Torch, the first superhero created by Timely Comics, which eventually became Marvel Comics. He was a part of the Invaders, along with Namor and Captain America. Marvel Comics recycled the name and abilities with the Fantastic Four's Johnny Storm, who was portrayed by Chris Evans in the 2015 Fantastic Four. And that movie sucks. The comic book version of Captain America's shield is most commonly said to be a What?
You can say that again.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. So the comic book version of Captain America's shield is most commonly said to be a mixture of vibranium and adamantium. I don't know why.
Adamantium.
You know what? I'm the comic expert here, Ben. Shut up. Shut up, Ben. Vibranium, it enables the shield to absorb vibrations, and I don't know why you can't pronounce this. Adamantium. That's how I always pronounce it reading it. And this is, I don't know why
it's close enough.
I don't know why this is so weird for me. Like, it enables the shield's near invincibility. However, because adamantium is part of the X-Men Wolverine mythos, adamantium is part of the X-Men mutant mythos, which, the film rights were at the time owned by Fox. Adamantium part had to be left out in this version. The first Captain America comic makes a cameo in the film, which we see. In real life, the comic was inspired by the comic. In real life, the movie was inspired by the comic, while in the movie, the comic book was inspired by real life. So that's some... Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know why I wrote that fact down, because that does not make any sense.
Yeah, that's kind of entirely what the movie is.
Yeah, that's a weird fact, but yeah. Steve Rogers sketches a costume design for Howard Stark and is caught doodling himself as a circus monkey, referring to the fact that he is a clown. Just kidding, referring to the comic book's depiction of Cap's alter ego as an artist since 1979. He even worked in the fictional Captain America comic book published on Marvel Earth. There is a very similar scene of Steve drawing costumes and characters of himself in the 1991 comic miniseries, The Adventures of Captain America, which I don't remember anything about, even though I read, which detailed his origins. This series seems to have also been influential in other ways. For example, the character Peggy Carter in this movie, which is very different from the comics, by the way, is reminiscent of Steve's love interest, Lieutenant Cynthia Glass, in the miniseries, who there turned out to be a German spy in the end. Hail Hydra. Hail Hydra.
Oh, whoa.
That was a legitimate mistake. In the comics, Captain America was frozen for only 2 decades and revived in the 1960s. Since this movie came out in 2011, they had to change the story so that he was frozen for closer to 70 years, which is a long time if you didn't know. And the only cameo that I noticed was the Stan Lee cameo, which, he military stuff for Captain America. He's he's also the older gentleman saying, "I thought you'd be taller." When Captain America, he fails to show up at the, at Senator Brandt's ceremony, which is really good. That was funny. I laughed. So this is the only cameo, a Stan Lee cameo, in a feature film adaptation of a Marvel comic superhero character where he was not an original creator. However, he did create the element of Captain America using his shield as a returning throwing weapon in an early tech story in Captain America Comics 3. Captain America Foils the Traitor's Revenge. Furthermore, he was also responsible for reviving the character in the 1960s. First as a member of the Avengers, and then in a solo series which focused on the hero being troubled man out of his time after years of being in a suspended animation. That was a lot of facts. I'm all over the place.
Also, one more thing that I actually I don't remember where I figured this out. So one of the extras, she's a character when Cap is signing autographs. She shows up and gives him a thing for him to sign. She is one of the few people, few actors or actresses, been cast as more than one character in the MCU, and she ended up being recast as Star-Lord's mom in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I didn't even notice that, which goes to show my thoughts on this movie. Which, guys, actually, no, I like this movie. This movie is legitimately good, but wow, is the start.
Really love this. Actually,
the start is just I like it a lot, but the start is just so boring. Once we get down to ranking, I know exactly where this is going to be. But yeah, this movie is just, the beginning is really slow and boring, which may just be the fact that I'm not really interested in the World War II settings, in all honesty. Like, I'm just not a fan. So a lot of this movie kind of it went out one year and came out the same year because I only have one operating year. But yeah, it's slow. It starts off really slow. Like, also, some of the effects in this movie, even though this dude's known for effects, Steve Rogers' anorexic appearance, like, I did.
I think because so it was what was it? What you said 2011?
Yeah.
It's really compared to some of the stuff now, and especially considering we don't really see anything like that, where they paste somebody's head onto somebody's body. But they still do it, but for that amount of time, being like a third of the movie. I will say it does hold up a lot, although there are some parts where like he's laying down in the chamber where it's like, oh, like if he's moving, you don't really see it that badly.
I don't know. I think it's the head. The head just looks way too big compared to the body.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. No, that was the thing. It's just the head was slightly too big. Like it's not too big. It was like, oh, that's so weird. So weird.
Yeah. I lagged for a second there, but yeah, it doesn't get too long until, he gets all big and muscly, but still, like, a lot of this movie, like, I like this movie, I do, I legitimately like this movie. Actually, what stops it from loving it for me is, it feels like a slog, like, it feels so slow. And, like, just not a lot happens at first. Well, actually, no, it's not true. A lot happens at first, but not a lot interesting happens at first. Which...
So I genuinely, like, this is actually genuinely one of my favorite ones to rewatch. Mostly because I do appreciate a lot of camp in some ways. I appreciate, like, I really like movies.
I appreciate camp, too, but this movie is... I don't think it's campy. I just think it's boring. At least at the beginning. I'll preface this by saying the beginning is boring.
It's not boring the whole time.
No, 100% not. Once Cap gets all big and muscly, and actually no, I'd say once he goes to rescue Bucky, that's when it's like snip, snip. I'm actually into this now. But it's just before that, it's just a lot of nothing really. And I've never been
necessarily think so. I know you've never been much of a movie person.
No. I've never been much of a Captain America person. Even in the comics, Captain America has just never really been my thing.
I am the opposite. So the weird thing is that I really when it comes to like reading Marvel comics and stuff like that, because I don't do it a lot. I go for either two things. It's either weird cosmic stuff that's just interesting and fun, like Doctor Strange or something like that, or I go so much more grounded.
Yeah.
And a lot of not the old stuff, I genuinely don't care for that, but like a lot of the like 2000 to 2010 Captain America comics are really good. I really enjoyed reading. I know. It's really just like old Cap that I like, not like younger Cap.
Yeah, I feel like Cap's character definitely gets more interesting as we go along. Just kidding. There's been no movies after that. The next movie is coming out next year is Avengers. So yeah, I really hope that Cap gets more interesting as we go along. But yeah, no, kidding aside, like, I don't know. I don't know why I keep saying this. I feel like I need to keep saying this, but I like this movie a lot. Well, I like this movie a lot. I don't know why I said that two
something
times in
that
a row.
I thought was weird is that something really kind of stood out to me was that humor in this movie is definitely, it's not as like nonchalant as Iron Man and Iron Man 2's humor, where it was more like just like silly quips and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot more like the humor is much more of an element, and I really like that. Like it's not necessarily part of the character. It's almost like part of the movie in a way. Like it's humor has evolved into something more as part of the thing instead of just like a teensy tiny element. And I kind of like that a lot. It really does add to the camp with some of the jokes.
I don't think I can call this movie campy because I don't know.
It's not campy in the way that, like, for
Batman
example, like
and Robin, or
Batman and
Forever.
Robin, or like Superman and stuff like that, where it's like gaffes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's campy in the way that like Independence Day is campy.
Repeat.
You know the movie Independence Day with Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum?
I'm really sorry to say this, but I've never seen it.
Very sad.
I apologize.
I am very disappointed. I feel genuine disappointment at that. Okay. But so it's not campy in the way that it's like it's just like it's almost silly how campy it is.
Mm-hmm.
It has that very like there's a lot of like hope and stuff.
You know, actually,
Like,
that's what the movie's missing. The movie is missing some more campy aspects. Like, it's not silly, and maybe that's why I'm not a too big fan of that. Of this, because I do like more.
I like that it's not silly. I know some people like the more silly stuff, but I don't know. The movie has a lot of really.
I don't know,
nice
especially for a character as old as Captain America. Like, I feel like all I'm saying is just
there are some things.
thank the gods for Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think the thing is with and some of the awkwardness in the stuff is that there are a lot of really serious things that go on, and like really serious moments. Also, we have to deal like we have to suspend our disbelief that this tiny twig of a man can turn into this huge muscly guy and can basically take down.
Okay, no, suspending my belief, like, that's not the problem.
It's really weird.
Like, I've been reading comics for forever, so, like, suspending my belief for this was not hard at all. Like, it wasn't even a task.
It's weird going into it.
Because it's like, it's like you said, like, we're talking about this dude who got injected with the super serum, and now he's a big boy, and he fought World War II with a shield. Like, suspending my disbelief is not the problem.
It's that. Okay, here it is. So so there's a big part in this movie where it's a big thing with the plot. So when somebody takes serum, amplifies all of the aspects, all of the stuff within you, even your personality. And so, if you're good, it amplifies the good, and if bad, it makes you worse. I think that's what they said in there, and it's that's what's really campy about it, is that it's almost like Captain America is so good that he's. I'm not saying this as the character, because as the character he's really good with the fact that they don't make him comically good. It's like, oh, the law says this, so I must follow the law. So we have that sort of like almost like this troubled good character. Then we have Red Skull, which is so evil, comically evil in a way. And I like it. Like, I like Joe Weaving in the role, and I like the character a lot. It's weird that they put so much depth into Steve Rogers. They don't do so much with the Red Skull. They just make him evil for the purpose of being evil.
Yeah. Red Skull's not a very compelling villain in this. He's really not, which we'll get into with Chilling with the Villains. But Tyler, what are your thoughts on this movie before we go into plot? Because that's gonna...
Well, it's kind of like the other movies we've reviewed. They're all, honestly, all the Phase 1 movies are kind of the same to me. They're all kind of not that great. They're just average movies, I could watch it at any time. It's not, like, horrible, but, there's better movies to watch,
Actually, no, that is a really good point. A lot of these Phase movies do feel samey to me. I'm excited to once we get out of Phase 1, because Phase 2, outside of a few films I don't remember very fondly, and then a certain film I fell asleep watching, and haven't gone back to rewatch it since. But I'm looking forward to Phase 2. Are we ready to go on the plot now, guys?
Yeah.
Ben, I said, are we ready to go into the plot?
Sorry, it cut out and I did not hear you whatsoever.
Alright, so is that a yes?
Yes, I am ready.
Alright, so we open up with bright headlights as they're cutting through snowflakes. A thick sheet of them. Big ol' honk. We see a guy, a scientist. He's bundled up as warmly as possible. He's trekking through the sleet. And then we see two other men in matching black approach the scientist, and he leads them up to an excavation site, which is, it's big. It's really big. Yeah, and at the center of the site appears to be a giant wing and fuselage. So the black-suited men, they cut through that of this weird mystery craft, and they enter, and they see the remains of a massive Rosian ship. One of the men brushes away at the snow, and they see red, white, and blue encased in ice, and they're like, "Sir, this one's waited long enough." Boom! Now we're in 1942, and this is where World War II is just not interesting to me. Two caretakers for an ancient Viking ruin listen as their town is overrun by Nazis. Alright? Yeah. And they flood in, and they're... Hey, Ben? Are you still there, lad?
Sorry, what? I'm sorry, things are cutting out really badly.
Do you want to take over this, Actually, you know what? No, never mind. I don't know.
I can't really hear you guys very well. You keep going with it.
Okay. I'm gonna keep pushing forward. So we see a dark figure appears in the entryway, and it's Johann Schmidt, who's played by Hugo Weaving. He's a high-ranking Nazi leader of the Hydra sect, and he nonchalantly enters. He enters like, ooh yeah. He crosses the room. He comes through the difficult-to-open sarcophagus and easily pushes the lid free. Within, he finds the skeletal remains of an old Viking clutching a glass cube, the Cosmic Cube. But in the MCU, they call it the Tesseract, which I never got.
I don't think anybody ever got it. It's
Like,
weird.
that's weird. Yeah, I don't... Should I call it the Tesseract, or are you guys fine if I just... Will I confuse people if I just call it the
keep going with
Cube?
Tesseract.
Okay. So yeah, they find the Tesseract. The caretaker pleads for Schmidt to leave it because it's dangerous. And Schmidt's like, this cube would be the jewel of Odin's treasury if it weren't a fake. And he smashes on the floor and goes to the caretaker, asking where the real cube is hidden. The caretaker initially refuses, but under threat of harm of his family, he relents, gesturing to a hidden jar across the room, part of an ancient carving the size of a wall. He opens it, boom, we see it. The the Cosmic Tesseract Cube. And now we're in Brooklyn, and Steve Rogers, he's 20-something, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was 90 pounds, right? Is that right?
Yeah, he's super underweight.
That is crazy. Wow, yeah, he wants to enlist in the army for some reason, and the army doctor, he's like, bruh, are you serious? Are you serious? He reads it, and it's read like a 90-year-old man and rejects Steve's application. And we find out that it's the 4th failed attempt to enlist. You know, son, maybe it's time for you to give up. But he heads to the movies, and this guy, he's just Rogers is just a narc, you know. We do see some this dude shouting. He's kind of being an a-hole. He's like, start the movie. I didn't pay to see this crap. So this dude's he's like, okay, you know, he's like, bro, what are you doing? But like Steve was just like, respect America, okay? And I'm just like, bro, take a chill pill, okay? Like, just chill out. We all need to chill out, all right? He got beat up, and you know what? I'd beat him up too, all right? Like. And then James Bucky Barnes, played by the Sebastian Stan, and so yeah, he's Steve's best friend. He comes running up to the alley, and he swiftly kicks the bully away. I'm embarrassed I put bully when he's just a guy, but whatever. He turns to Steve, who's annoyed that Bucky showed up, and he's like, this is where we get the I can do this all day line. But no, you can't, because you're dying. You're probably going to die in a year. So yeah, he kicks him away, and Bucky's like, bruh. He's like, don't you know it's illegal to lie on a form? And then we see that he's now enlisted. His application was accepted, and he's being assigned to the 107th Infantry. So in a celebratory mood, Bucky invites Steve to go to dancing with a pair of girls on a double date. Bashfully, Steve tags along, and the four head to the World's Fair in Queens and whatnot, while Bucky canoodles with his dates. You know, Steve watches as Howard Stark, which I really like in this movie. Dominic Cooper does a fantastic job as Stark in this. Like, holy crap. That's probably my favorite character in this movie, is Howard Stark. I wish we got more of this actor as Stark. So yeah, he's unsuccessfully demonstrated the flying car, and he's like, well, I did say to few use off, didn't I? And I'm like, you damn right did, my man. And he asks how Steve intends to forge his application. Oh no, Bucky catches up with him, and he asks how Steve, intends to forge his application this time. Was unknown to them both. Dr. Abraham Erskine, I don't know. The Tooch, we're calling him the Tooch. While passing by, eavesdrops on their conversation. He's fascinated by Steve. Well, Bucky wishes Steve good luck on his latest application, and Steve heads to the recruiting station for his 5th physical. Inside, Steve sits on an examination table and grows nervous when an MP enters the room, and is soon followed by the Tooch. Tooch has all of Steve's prior applications, and recognizing Steve's strong will and unwavering conviction, he accepts his latest application. Yeah, in a secret military installation high in the Alps, Schmidt brings the Tesseract Cube, the Cosmic Tesseract Cube, to Dr. Arnim Zola, his Hydra weapon specialist. The Tesseract's seemingly limitless power enables Schmidt and Dr. Zola to power unstoppable energy, guns, and cannons, and pew pew. Meanwhile, we see Steve enlisted a basic training and is not doing a very good job. But we do. Is this where we see Peggy Carter? I think it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Who I'm just gonna say, yeah. Yes to Peggy Carter. I agree. Steve is in the right. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I like Peggy Carter. She seems to pity Steve, though, despite being the smallest and weakest of this platoon. Steve demonstrates his spirit and self-insist, and yeah, when the platoon are charged with retrieving a flag from the top of the tadpole, As the other more fit men in the platoon are charged, they fail one by one. Steve casually walks over the pole and pulls the pin, holding it up, taking the flag when the pole crashes to the ground. Philip, still unconvinced, tosses a grenade into the group during all this, and they scatter. But Philip is surprised when Steve alone leaps on top of it, willing to sacrifice himself to save the others before discovering that the grenade was a dummy. Phillips concedes to the Tooch's decision. So, yeah, the Tooch is speaking with Steve, and they bond over schnapps. And Dr. Erskine, he's like, this is not the first time performing this experiment. I tried for the accent, and I failed. But yeah, he tells a story, scientist in Germany, and he intended to use he's ordered by Schmidt to create the serum that would create a godlike strength, and it's kind of succeeded, but yeah, it corroded his body. Schmidt he looks weird, but we don't know he looks weird yet. We don't know what he means by this yet. It's all very mysterious. So following Warren, Steve and Peggy wind their way across through Brooklyn and come up to a stop in front of an old antique shop. On the way, Steve points out various parts in Brooklyn where he's been beaten up. She asks him why he never ran away. He responds that running away in his mind was an invitation for further abuse. You're right, sir. But still, you know what? You're asking to be beat up, alright? But yeah, the two enter the antique shop, exchange passcodes with an old woman managing the register, and descend into a secret military bunker concealed within. And you know what? This is where we see Howard being cool, and then we get the super serum. Yada, yada, yada. Boom, he's buff. So then this other dude, he comes and Kruger, if you didn't know. His name is Heinz Kruger. He's a German spy. And he shoots the Tooch and steals the serum, and he runs. And Peggy pursues, but Steve is like, but I'm fast. And so he's like, he's Sonic now. So he collects some rings, and he boosts. He only has 6 of the 7 chaos emeralds, though, so he can't go supersonic. But still, he catches up to the dude. No. We get this cool scene where the kid gets thrown into the water, and Steve's about to rescue him. He's like, bro, go get him, I can swim. I like that. That's like, it's playing on expectations. But yeah, he's like, cut off one head, 2 more take his place, and kills himself with the cyanide capsule in his fake tooth. Which, was that a real thing? Did that actually happen? Did people do that?
Yes. The real thing.
Huh.
It's very freaky.
That's weird. But yeah, he yells out Hail Hydra and he dies. But yeah, so now we're on top of Hitler's top. We're visited by a trio of Hitler's top commanders. They're tasked with inspecting Schmidt's operation. They ridicule Schmidt, saying that the Nazi Party no longer takes him and Hydra seriously. Him and Hydra seriously due to this obsession with magic and the occult, and playfully refer to him as the Red Skull, a name that infuriates Schmidt. Which, I would be like, yeah, you call me the Red Skull. That's badass. That's cool. But yeah, he starts school now, and he takes the 3 of them to his weapons lab, where they're shown his unstoppable energy weapons and a strategic map of Europe dotted with targets. I don't remember what the targets are for, but Hail Hydra. The following day, Phillips and Carter pick up the remains of Dr. Erskine's lab, the Tooch. Both are despondent because the only person capable of producing the serum was Erskine himself. Steve is eager to go to the front lines of the European theater, but Phillips would rather he be a lab rat than a soldier in his army. Steve is approached by a senator holding a newspaper, and we just, Steve was pretty much enlisted by the U.S. though, where he's Captain America, and he's just, yeah. But then he's soon taken overseas, where he's continuing to entertain the troops who are not having it. They want the girls, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, if I was in that position, I would not want this freaking dude to be performing either. If there's these freaking hot chicks performing, like, why would I want to see Captain America? Captain America's nothing to me. And so, yeah, he goes, and I think this is where we get the scene where he's like, wait a minute, where's Bucky Barnes? And they're like, I don't know. And then he goes, and he's flying over the battlefield by Stark, and he rescues the peeps. And so he happens across Bucky, yeah, and now he's a hero because he rescued people. Back at the base camp, Phillips takes a letter to his typist telling how Rogers disappeared the prior night and likely perished during the battle. At that, Phillips berates Agent Carter for causing this loss. and notes that unlike the indispensable Stark, she herself can be punished. Carter attempts to justify her actions, but Phillips bluntly dismisses her opinions, considering that the loss of Rogers, the only successful test object of Project Rebirth, would be ample justification to closing down their organization. Just then, Rogers arrives with nearly 400 survivors, and yeah, he gets rewarded. News of Captain America's success on the battlefield has swept over the reward all of the world, but Rogers does not appear for his medal in Congress. The reason for his absence is in London, where Steve gives Phillips and Carter his best recollection of the Hydra base camp and tells them that he intends to go to space and destroy them one by one. So yeah, next day, Steve is summoned to Brooklyn by Phillips, and I think this is where he's kissing an enlisted woman. And Peggy's like mad. Yeah, that's what happens. Peggy's like, you know what? I just wanted some of that Captain America, that super serum D. You know what I mean? Like, she wants to get her F on. She wants Captain America so hard in this movie, dude. She is thirsty. She's PO'd that Steve was making out with this hot blonde officer. But yeah. Steve's insisting that he gets nervous around women, asks why he should apologize. Carter and Stark have been a thing going. And we got a running joke of fondue, where he doesn't know what fondue is, and I don't know, I never found that too funny. But yeah, fondue. So Steve dresses in red, white, and blue fatigues, and he's going to infiltrate. He's going to infiltrate. Yeah. So in the Alps, Steve and his men, they're the one that captures Zola in his personal train. And we see, and this is where Bucky dies, and he's tossed from the train and plummets into an icy river below. Zola is apprehended. So Zola sits in a prison and is visited by Colonel Phillips, who brings them a steak dinner, and Zola rejects the meal, convinced that it must be poison. Phillips shrugs and eats it himself. He tells Zola that he broadcast an easily decipherable message, which has certainly been intercepted by Hydra, saying that Zola had defected. Also knows that Zola is easy to bargain with, since he's the sole Hydra agent they've captured who hasn't taken a cyanide capsule to avoid disclosing information. Zola, fearing that the lie will result in his death by the Red Skull, gives in to Phillips and tells him the information of Red Skull's only remaining Hydra base. So yeah, Rogers is in a war-ravaged bar, and Carter comes in and comforts Steve over the loss of his best friend. Steve realizes that Dr. Erskine's serum rapidly regrows dead cells, making it impossible for him to get drunk. The two flirt a bit and talk about having a dance once again. Rogers and his team prepare for battle to take down Red Skull, and a climactic firefight ensues. But Red Skull asks what makes Steve so special, and Steve's like, you know what, nothing, I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. From Brooklyn. Moments before members of his team zipline into Red Skull's office, and yeah, we get this firefight. 100 soldiers under the direction of Phillips and Carter swarm the base, claiming any Hydra soldiers. Red Skull flees, yada yada yada. Now we're in a cockpit. Captain America and Red Skull have their final fight, and it's not very good. IMO. The Red Skull fires his cube energy pistol at Steve, who easily deflects the shots using his shield. His shot is deflected into one of the cockpit center console, which contains the glowing blue cube. The console is damaged, and Skull lifts the cube in the air, but he's teleported into, what was it, Ben?
You have no idea yet.
No, it's a glowing blue light.
Oh, right. Does it count as a glowing blue beam? Yeah.
Yes, it counts. Yes.
Does it count? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll count it. That's number 2 then.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as that. We'll count it as number 2.
Yeah, number 2.
I thought you were talking about that movie that hasn't come out yet, Avengers. I was very confused.
What's in? I was about to ask what's in Infinity War, but Infinity War has happened in the comics though. But yeah, I don't even know who are the Avengers.
I have no idea what an Avengers is.
Yeah, like who are we avenging? Like what is? Cum dogs. Before plummeting into the ocean below, Steve mains the plane and controls and radios Carter. We do get him. I like the scene where he's on the flight path and Carter's like, "No, just use your brain. Like, what is wrong with you, bro? You can literally, you could probably survive the jump. So just keep it on target for the ground and just jump out. You don't need to sacrifice yourself. This is dumb. I don't like how they froze Captain America. It's dumb. It makes no sense. They make it sound like this is the only way when it's not. Legit, my man's is invincible. Like,
not invincible.
I know he's not invincible,
He can
but
get shot.
I know he can get shot, but still, like, he could survive the jump.
He can't survive a fall to his death.
I 100% disagree. He could survive. He could
can't
survive.
do it.
He can.
But he can do it. He's not invincible. He's not invulnerable. He's just very strong.
I do not believe that he did not have a parachute on him. Alright? This was not the only option.
No, he didn't have a parachute. There were no parachutes.
Why was there no...
The point.
No, I am not accepting this.
With the parachutes.
It's
literally
dumb.
a shot.
I don't like it. I hate how they froze Captain America in this. It's just...
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. So he awakens in a 1940s hospital. An old-fashioned radio transmits the play-by-play of a Brooklyn Dodgers game. He gets up, looks out the window, and watches the hospital door opens. A young nurse, who bears a striking resemblance to Peggy, enters. She waits for a response. She's not as hot as Peggy, though. But she waits for a response from Steve, who looks her over suspiciously. He asks why the radio is playing a game from May 1941. Specifically, a game that he knows he attended. He reaches into her pocket and withdraws a two-way radio. Two tall soldiers in black uniforms enter the room, and Steve easily tosses them through the wall. He breaks out, and I do like this a lot. All of this that happens next, I like this. So yeah,
I will say. So I talked to this with somebody else after I watched the movie. This entire last scene. I do like this movie a lot. It's one of my favorites in the MCU, just to rewatch. Entire last scene when he wakes up is one of the best scenes in the entire series.
No, 100%. Because we get this.
Everything about it is so well done that it overshadows the rest of the movie.
No, 100%. Because this is. I legitimately want to see Cap's interaction with the modern world. And we get this dope shot of Captain America, like, looking around, seeing all these, like, skyscrapers with all these billboards. And, like, Nick Fury enters, and he carefully speaks to Steve, and, he tells him that he's been asleep in the ice for 70 years, and Steve's like, what? And he breathes heavily and sadly tells Fury that he had a date. And that's such a good line, bro! That's so good. Like, this 100% redeems the slow beginning to me, because it's just so good. So, yeah.
The movie, I will say, something that this movie has, and this isn't me discussing the whole thing, but so, something that I find interesting, that this movie has the only music composer that never really returns regularly throughout the rest of the series. Alan Silvestri shows up for this movie, other two Captain America movies, the Avengers, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame.
Wait, who composed Age of Ultron?
Many of them. Silvestri was named.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I remember. Actually, no, I don't remember, because I don't remember much about.
No, it's weird. But Alan Silvestri is probably the most important person musically, and I will say this movie has so far probably just the best music of the MCU so far. Probably also because there is music.
Yeah, and there's, like, actually themes. Like, Captain America has a theme in this movie.
There's recurring themes.
Yeah.
There's recurring themes.
Which is
in the
a
movie.
crazy concept, guys. Music, am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, music exists. So that is something that I do like about this movie, is that it does have a musical identity. And the last scene really helps with that musical identity. It really pushes itself out of the movie's comfort zone in that last scene because the music doesn't really match up as well with the rest of the movie because it is more of what we would will eventually hear in the Avengers, which is a much more modern sort of sound to it.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, Captain America, the idea was that they'd take music that sounds more like stuff that was composed around that time. More typical, like, brassy superhero movies.
No, 100%. The music in this is, like, legitimately good. Like, I like the music in this. It's actually memorable to me.
Top notch.
Like, I could hum right now the freaking Captain America theme. Like, I cannot do that.
I can do it. I'm thinking about it right now.
No, I legit, like, I cannot do that for any Iron Man 3 themes. Because Iron Man has, like, 3 themes. Like, he does not have it, like, but yeah. So...
It's so out of whack.
So we get... I had a date, and then we get the post-credit scene. Just kidding, because the post-credit scene is literally just an advertisement for the Avengers. And it's weird, yeah, because I watched this on Disney Plus, and when the post credit scene happened, like it was in a different aspect ratio, which was weird.
The post credit scene in this movie,
it's literally just a trailer.
I would say even like with the Incredible Hulk's thing, non post credit but still a scene into the mix. This is the weakest one.
No, 100% it's the weakest one. Easy.
It's not even a post-credit scene. It's just
it's just a trailer, which is like.
The thing is, it's not just a trailer. It was a trailer for Avengers that they just used the post-credit scene. That was the trailer. It's very strange.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Captain America. Overall, like, I like the movie. Alright. Do we have anything else to add before we go to Chill with the Bones?
Nope.
I feel like there is something that I can't. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
There is no. Never mind. There is something actually. So this movie does, I'll say, have an opportunity. Or had and squandered, and then I guess some of it was Iron Man 2 as well. So this movie does bring together a lot of the world building in the MCU. It's probably like if Iron Man set up the world to exist, did that really well. Brings together all of the jumbled information we had that didn't make before to make more sense because we had those weird references to the Tesseract Cosmic Cube. We had other weird references like this movie simultaneously brings in lore we have from Thor and stuff about the Stark Expo and things like that from Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
This movie does a really... And it also brings together the weirder stuff from The Incredible Hulk about why that project even started. Being that The Incredible Hulk, and I wrote this down so I would remember, is that The Incredible Hulk talks about how the project was supposed to be a super soldier serum based off of Dr. Erskine's work. And so it brings in stuff from virtually every movie that wasn't connected before. And so I will say I think this movie probably has a better world-building narrative within it compared to the past few. Because the past few seemed almost unconnected.
Yeah, no, I got you 100%. The MCU just does a really good job of that overall.
Exactly. It really does. The first few movies in the MCU really don't do much with trying to connect pieces. We see some of that between Iron Man 2 and Thor, like Coulson leaving to go to New Mexico. Really, that's just them trying to show that, yeah, these movies are connected. It's going to make more sense if you put 2 and 2 together. But we don't really see the world-building side of things very closely packed together until we get to the. I will say that's something that this film on its own has a leg up on, especially considering Thor squandered that potential. Magnificent.
Yeah.
That's really all I have.
So chill with the villains. Where we are ranking every MCU villain. So our current list from worst to best. Number 4, Abomination and Kinda Ross from The Incredible Hulk. Number 3, Obadiah Stane, who is the Ironmonger from Iron Man. Number 2, Loki featuring the Ice Giants. I didn't even note where that was from, but that's from Thor. Number 1, Cameron is BDSM friend from Iron Man 2. Where do we think, what, just Red Skull?
Well, I think really
I would
the only
say
villain
I would say Red Skull and Hydra are the
Red
villains.
Skull and Hydra.
Well,
Okay.
Is Hydra really the
We'll,
villain here?
we'll say Red Skull and Hydra because I guess the main thing is the fact that he's this villain and then there are his minions. I guess. You want to say Red Skull and Hydra or just?
I think we just do Red Skull because from what I've heard, Hydra's way more important than Winter Soldier.
Fair. Okay, we'll say Red Skull. I think something that this movie does well with its villain compared to so if we look at it, is that something that Red Skull doesn't have compared to the past few villains is he doesn't have that humor that we see in like Sam Rockwell, Justin Hammer, and we sometimes see in like Obadiah Stane, and especially Loki. Red Skull as a character is just so very campy, but he's also very like cool in a way. It's like he's designed to look and act as like intimidating and awesome comic book villain as possible. It's sort of like how Whiplash was in Iron Man. Oh,
Yeah, repeat that.
I'm sorry. So Red Skull as a character, something that he doesn't have in this movie that the other villains, especially like Loki and Justin Hammer have, the top two right now, is humor, and that sort of relatable sort of humor aspect to it. Something that he does have, he sort of exudes it just in his presence, is that sort of awesomeness and intimidation. Same sort of stuff that we didn't have in Loki, which is why he's number 2 right now, but we did have in Whiplash.
Yeah, I get that.
Whenever he's on screen, he's just like he's cool in a way. Like he's cool to look at, and when he talks, he's very confident and very intimidating. At least designed to be so. So we have right now with this thinking, have this problem where I don't really know if I think honestly as a villain better than Loki was in Thor.
Are you saying Red Skull's better than Loki and Thor?
I'm not saying that he's a better character. I'm saying that he's a better villain.
I absolutely disagree because he does. I don't think he does really much of anything. Also, his fight in this movie is so boring. He's just
You know
boring.
what, Ethan? I'm sorry, but you're outvoted.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys both liked it?
I like it a lot, and I think so. The thing is that Red Skull is a villain, a better villain than Loki was in Thor. I think Loki will be better in the Avengers, a movie we haven't seen because it hasn't come out yet, because apparently it's 2011. as a character, as a developed character, uh, Loki was not much of a villain. He was much more of just like of the group. In a
I
way.
feel like that he was at least entertaining.
Foreboding presence whole movie. He was very in the background, just controlling things. And
Are you questioning the current Chillin' with the Villains ranking right now?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna say that I think Skull should be number 2 now.
You think the same, Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, the new ranking is number 5, Abomination and Kinda Ross from The Incredible Hulk. Number 4, Obadiah Stane, who is the Ironmonger. Number 3, Loki featuring the Ice Giants. Number 2, Red Skull and sort of Hitler. Number 1, Hammer and his beat-some friend. So yeah. Now, going on with our current MCU movie ranking. The current ranking, number 4, The Incredible Hulk. Number 3, Thor. Number 2, Iron Man 2. Number 1, Iron Man. And guys, I know exactly where I want this to be. Number 2, right below Iron Man, but above Iron Man 2. What do we think about that?
I was about to say the same thing.
I'm fine with it.
Wow, that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that's
not,
unanimous thing.
not,
I do
yeah.
sort of want to explain why. Because do genuinely like. I feel like I liked Iron Man 2, and I like them for similar reasons. I think Captain America pulls off the things that I liked from Iron Man 2 a bit better. And I think part of that is that he is, in some ways, Steve Rogers. Slightly, he's more interesting character in this movie compared to, and the plot is slightly more interesting than that of Iron Man 2. There are more qualities that, although it's very similar, that do outweigh in a way. I don't really know how to explain it.
I just feel like, especially Tony Stark's arc reactor is just way better and way more compelling in the first Iron Man. I feel like that's a better origin story than this.
It is. It's something that, and I know we're not supposed to be talking about movies that haven't come out yet. So I was talking about this with some other people, and so say that they said that something was weird to them about the whole argument about which movies are better, Iron Man or Captain America. I always said Captain America because Iron Man movies don't have as much of a through line, much more individual stories, whereas Captain America has that constant. This is the direction that the character is going. Which isn't a problem.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a problem.
I know. It's not a problem, it's just a very different mindset that these two movies have. I think that narrative standpoint of Captain America over, like, Iron Man 2 is really what makes the movie better. There is an arc for the character to go through.
Yeah, it worked. But whereas Captain America's like, hey, I'm really good. And at the end of the movie, he's still really good. Which, I've never, like I said, I've never been too huge on Cap. But, so yeah, our new ranking, number 5, The Incredible Hulk. Number 4, Thor. Number 2, number 3, Iron Man 2. Number 2, Captain America: The First Avenger. And number 1, Iron Man. I like this ranking. I like this ranking. Do we have anything else to add before we sign off for the day?
Not really. I will say that the Avengers is going to be weird to watch. I feel weird
Uh,
compared to all of the other movies, because all of the other movies have sort of like a different feel. I feel like when we watch the Avengers, we are immediately going to recognize the sort of modern Marvel style.
no, I get you. I'm excited though. Uh,
I am.
so yeah, next episode, the Avengers. Which will actually be Thursday in 2 days. We're fitting two in this week. So yeah, Thursday at the Avengers, and after that we're gonna get back to the normal schedule of new episodes Thursday. So yeah, that's been it from us. You can find the podcast on legit like any podcast service. I've spread my wings and I put this on a lot of services. So yeah, it's just HMR Homebrew Movie Retinue, and you'll find it. So yeah, it's been it. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I almost forgot my closing line, but I remembered it because it's have a marvelous day.